Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here. And what if your job depended on it? What if your livelihood, to go back to not the old normal because they're already telling you that's not going to happen. We covered that in the last video. But the new normal, where you're still allowed to be employed. What if your job depends on a COVID-19 84 vaccine? Not possible? Not in the United States of America? Well, I got news for you. Not only is it possible, they're trying to sell this to you as legal in every way, shape, and form. And believe you me, they're trying to get rid of what? Religious exemptions. And they're also downplaying big time medical exemptions. And if you have allergies or an autoimmune disorder. We also covered that in the last video, and we're going to show you again because people have to understand that the doctors, after they took this vaccine live on the air, what'd they say? We don't know if it's going to stop infection. The efficacy of this vaccine that they keep telling you is 90+% is only whether or not it produces the antibodies. And if you don't think you're living in a medical martial law where they mandate these types of procedures for a disease, COVID-19 84, that the United Nations even admits has a 99.4% plus survival rating. We played that clip dozens of times on the program. They said that in August, okay? And they don't even know if this vaccine is going to what? Stop infections. But they are warning you that you could infect others after taking it. That's the big joke. Now, before we get there and we play some of these videos, I want to remind everybody, fully demonetized here, 8.5 months. Soon to be 9 months. Don't worry. They don't plan on reviewing my channel. They don't like that I'm going to point to mainstream sources for all of this because this isn't the mainstream narrative that they sell you. They're not really telling you that there are false HIV positives and there are other reports that this vaccine could actually make it more likely for you to get HIV. That's madness, right? You can't believe that that would even be a thing. That sounds so far-fetched, but we're going to show you the articles from Forbes and others. They don't want you to know that, whistleblowers, I wouldn't even call them whistleblowers, just people doing their jobs at the American Medical Association. I think her name is Susan Freinhoyer, are saying it's not going to be a walk in the park after that first vaccination. Not how it's sold to you on the Today Show, but we're going to show you that as well. Okay, so $5, $10, $15, big donors. Couldn't do it without you. Rockfin. Monday through Friday, streaming exclusively there, 11 a.m. Eastern. Okay, yesterday's video is a full exclusive. It's still free. Go make the free account. And then if you are supporting me by $9.99 a month, you get everybody else on there. Okay, lots of great creators, lots of great premium content. And if they kick me off of this platform for daring to tell you the truth about this, for daring to let you make a decision for yourself on the boopity boop, 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 the forever boop, if you will, well, what can you do? You got to go to more free speech platforms like this one. And thumbs the video up, subscribe, and share. Join the Burmis Brigade. All the documentary films are free. Loose Change Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, A New World Order to Find, and Shade the Motion Picture. Let's get right into it. Can they bar you? Wow.
Can request an exemption under the...
Two vaccines waiting for approval from the Food and Drug Administration. Business leaders across the country are weighing how they will structure their messaging when it comes to the COVID-19 vaccine and their workforce.
Structure their messaging to the workforce. You're the workforce. All of a sudden, you're the workforce. You're not a human being. You're not a hero. You're not saving lives. When you're boop on someone said, oh, you come on in. When they got infrared scanners everywhere. Come on.
A new CBS Money Watch article examines if your employer can force you to get vaccinated and just how much influence a company might have over an employee's decision.
Force, influence.
Let's bring in the author of that article, Megan Cerullo. She joins us now. Megan, Is it legal for companies to require employees to get a vaccine?
Hey, Omar. Generally speaking, it is legal for a company to require its employees to become vaccinated.
It is legal. Really? That's nice that you think it's legal. That's nice that I don't have a First Amendment. That's nice that I don't have ownership over my own body. But it's a private corporation, Jason. Yeah, I didn't sign up for the military where you literally give up all your rights and they can stick you with anything. But let's continue. Megan Carullo. You might want to find her on Twitter for some cancel culture, guys. I mean, I'm not for cancel culture, but let's cancel this message that you don't have a right over your own body.
For example, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission already allows employers to require that their employees get the flu vaccine with an asterisk. They must, however, make exceptions for certain employees under the Americans with Disabilities Act and under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act.
See, they don't like that Title VII of the Civil Rights Act. They don't like Title VII of the Civil. They're going to downplay that. You know what I'm saying? They don't want you to have a religious exemption. How about my medical exemption from getting this? Isn't an allergic reaction. It's that I have sanity and that I don't need a vaccine that hasn't even been tested for the efficacy of preventing infection. Are you kidding me right now? Thumbs this video up, subscribe, and share, everybody. Let's keep going.
Is there any specificity you can give us on who would be exempt?
Sure. So an employee with a medical condition that makes it unsafe for them to receive the vaccine can request an exemption under the Americans with Disabilities Act, and their employer would be required to provide a reasonable accommodation, for example, allowing them to work from home.
Wait a minute. Work from home because they didn't get a vaccine, even if they're exempt? Listen, this woman is a terrible, terrible person, in my opinion. I don't want her bullied, but I want her message to be clear here. Her message is one of authoritarianism and oppression. That's what this is, okay? Oh, they'd have to accommodate him if there was a medical condition. Now, the other guy is going to tell you that even if you have a medical condition, this is probably still safe for you. You might want to take it in a monitored setting. And I know there's a video of the nurse going viral and fainting after she takes it, moments after she says she's not feeling well. We're not even going to play that one today. We're not even going to play that one. Forget about that one, okay? We'll play some other stuff. Don't worry.
And that's a pretty easy, that would just require an employee getting a note from their doctor. Employees with sincerely held religious beliefs for whom it's against their religion to become vaccinated can also request an exemption under Title VII. The threshold is higher there because they don't want people coming up with bogus religions.
Bogus religions. Bogus religions. Stricter. They don't want you using that one there.
And when it's not something they sincerely believe in.
If an employee does get the vaccine, could companies be held liable if the vaccine later turns out to be ineffective and that employee gets sick?
No.
Sure. Lawyers expect there, first of all, to be a push to insulate companies from liability. Secondly, they won't be the ones administering the vaccine. So your boss isn't going to be, giving you a shot. A third care, a pharmacy like CVS or a healthcare provider will actually administer the vaccine.
So let me say this again. Of course not. She says it right in the very beginning. No one's going to be held liable if this is ineffective or worse, it does something bad to you. I mean, 2020 is quite the year, huh, folks? 2020 is quite the year.
Any claims would likely be funneled through workers' compensation programs because it would likely be considered an on-the-job injury. So that's not really something that employers need to worry too much about.
I'm sure companies who don't employ frontline workers are watching the frontline worker companies that are going to have this. Will this set a precedent for what employers can require the employees to do in the event of another worldwide disease and a different vaccine?
Gee, I don't know. Could it set a precedent? Geez, these are questions a fourth grader could answer. Like she's given no input other than to give you the establishment line and downplay that you are religiously exempt. Bogus religions. Bogus religions, please.
Well, the precedent's already been set with the flu vaccine, which is why the EEOC is expected to issue similar guidance vis-a-vis the COVID-19 vaccine. And in the case of another worldwide pandemic or disease, the EEOC would also have to issue separate guidance.
Interesting. Is requiring a vaccine going to end up being the best solution? Or is it going to be better if employers kind of coax their workers or...
Oh, coax! We're using the term coax them into it. Or maybe we'll just offer them some money. How about $1,500? That's been floated. We've all seen those stories. Coax.
Add incentives for them to get it.
So initially, because the vaccine will first become available under emergency use authorization, so it won't have gone through all the usual rounds of approval, it's really unlikely that employers will actually require workers to become vaccinated. What we're likely to see more of is sort of positive reinforcement and companies incentivizing employees to get the vaccine. And
positive reinforcement. You don't think they're talking to you like a pet? Not even like a child. Like a pet. Am I a dog? Do I need positive reinforcement? Like, what is going on here?
Offering them bonuses or gift cards, for example.
Gift cards.
No one wants to work for, it just won't engender goodwill toward a company if you're being mandated to do something. So companies are really going to aim for voluntary compliance before they have to to make it mandatory.
Before they have, so they don't have to make it mandatory. It's before they make it mandatory. You see how this works? They're going to mandate it. That's why the New York State Bar Association put it on paper, and we've been covering it since the summer. And they can mandate whatever they like, and they can talk about bogus religions, and they can act like, hey, this isn't medical martial law, but we all know what this is. We all know what this is. We all know this won't be a walk in the park, according to actual doctors. Sandra Freihofer of the American Medical Association. People might get so sick, fever, headaches, disorientation, they might not want the second one. Weird. And we don't know whether or not it stops transmission. We're going to play that clip in a minute. First, I want to show this. We're not going to play the nurse passing out. Okay, we're not going to play that, but we're going to play this for you.
Healthcare workers from coast to coast are getting the Pfizer vaccine. The first severe allergic reaction has been reported in the U.S. It happened to a healthcare worker in Alaska. The woman had no history of reactions, and it's not known if she has any other types of allergies. After getting the vaccine, the woman had shortness of breath and a rash within minutes. She was given a dose of epinephrine and responded immediately, but later needed another dose of it. She is being monitored at a hospital.
No problem. No history. I'm just saying, healthcare worker. I don't know if that's really the first one. That was, reported yesterday. So, that's 2 days ago. That's not just like the woman passing out. But, I think that it's worth putting this up here. That, they're reporting. Oh, I'm sorry. This is the wrong one. Sorry about that. I scrolled down a little bit too. Okay. I was going to say, I thought I had. Here we go, right here. Right here, it says vaccinated people infected without developing symptoms or developing them could still silently transmit the virus. This is New York Times. All right. I was going to pull up the New York Times. They want me to join. They want me to. No, none of that's going to happen. No. So, guys, it's right there. You see it? Boom. It's right there. Like get with it. Get with the program. All right? Facial swelling. Puffy cheeks. Rashes. Remember, you're risking a higher increase of the possibility of getting HIV. False positives on the HIV. All stuff they're not telling you. That's not the mainstream narrative. And now, again, this doctor over here is going to tell you, don't be worried about it. Even if you do have a condition, if you're monitored and you take it, it's going to be fine. And then admits that this does not, I repeat, does not stop infection. There's no proof of that. That's not the efficacy. We'll find out in a couple weeks. Maybe it'll stop the infection. Who knows?
For folks who are watching or listening who might be scared or skeptical, what's your message to them as you get ready to get your vaccine as well?
Craig, I'm really glad you asked that. The first message is similar to what I said up front, which is to say that we know this vaccine is safe and effective. We know that it's particularly safe in preventing severe pneumonia from COVID-19.
Now, again, that's the first time, I keep going back to this, that's the first time I've heard this claim. Now, the other thing is these two doctors have been around these patients apparently, right? And if they get it, do you think that they're going to get severe pneumonia and go to the ICU? Yet he falsely claims, like without getting the vaccine, that's much more likely. I've seen no studies to show the efficacy of that, only the efficacy of producing the antibodies. That's it.
Meaning you're not going to see docs like Dr. Fakeley and I in an ICU if you get the vaccine. So that's first and foremost. I think we need to keep that top of mind, that this is going to save people's lives, this vaccine. We also know it's safe, that there's, at worst, mild side effects, injection site soreness potentially, maybe a low-grade temperature, a headache, but those go away within 24 hours. So
again, that's not what's said in this article. Some people, some people had those things go away within 24 hours. Others did not. Okay? Again, as a practicing physician, she said she worries whether her patients will come back for a second dose because of the potentially unpleasant side effects they may experience after the first shot. We really need to make patients aware that this is not going to be a walk in the park. Okay? This is at a virtual meeting with the advisory committee on the immunization practices. Okay? An outside group of medical experts that advise the CDC. Okay? She is a liaison to that committee. They are going to know they had a vaccine. They are probably not going to feel wonderful, but they've got to come back for the second dose. Okay? Side effects that are similar to symptoms associated with mild COVID-19. Muscle pain, chills, headaches. Okay? Just, I mean, some people felt better the next day. Some people did not. All right? Think about that. And they're just telling you, there are immune responses too. Don't worry about that. So watch this guy sell it to you and then tell you it's not even proven to be effective in stopping the transmission of the virus.
that's pretty clear as well. And lastly, I will say is for those who might have severe allergic reactions, I know there's been a lot of questions about that. Severe allergic reactions, should you get the vaccine? What's clear is that if you have that profile, talk to your clinical provider, talk to them about what types of allergic reactions you've had in the past, and you're likely still going to be just fine if you get the vaccine.
Likely still going to be just fine if you get the vaccine. He's going to tell you in a monitored setting. At no time through this whole thing does he suggest that anyone should not take this vaccine. I just want to point that out.
In a monitored setting. So it's going to be really important for all of us to understand that this vaccine, Craig, is the only way out of this pandemic.
The only way out of this pandemic. The only way out of this pandemic. The only way out of this pandemic. The only way out of this pandemic. But earlier, the guy behind you said it was, you're still going to have to wear your mask. You're still going to have to social distance, right? You can't just go back to normal afterwards. There is, again, they're telling you. And now listen to this guy. Here he goes. He's going to now admit, what? Infections. Psh.
It's broadly safe. We're learning more, as Dr. Fakeley just mentioned. We're learning more about how long immunity lasts. How long are we protected after this two-dose regimen? And that's number one. And then number two, we're going to learn, does this vaccine protect against severe pneumonia? Does it also...
See, now he told us it protected against severe pneumonia. Now he's going to say, oh, we already know that. But now he's going to say, does it protect against infection?
We know that. Does it also protect against transmission? That's the key question here. Does this vaccine protect against transmission? Because a vaccine can protect, against severe illness leading to the ICU, but it can also potentially still allow for infection, where people are unwittingly transmitting the virus.
Yeah.
We're going to have clarity on that question, guys, in the next 2 to 4 weeks, and I think that's going to be really important for the American people.
Wonderful. Wonderful. We're going to have clarity on that. So, you know, all your friends and your family that are ready to line up and take the boopity boop, maybe you should let them know false HIV positives. Maybe you should let them know they're not even claiming that they know that this will stop the infection rate of the virus. And what are they hyping up all the time? The infection rate of the virus. Wow. Wow. So, folks, thumbs the video up, subscribe and share. Share this information with others. Again, we're fully demonetized here. $5, $10, $15. It means the world to me. Big donors. Need you now more than ever. Really would love to get into that $2,000 range. It's around Christmas, believe me. The DC trip was not cheap. Rockfin, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Free. Go make that free account. There's still 3 huge exclusives. Like, there's 4 hours of exclusives that are up there for free right now that are not on YouTube, including interviews with doctors on the COVID-1984 vaccine, and then an interview with a doctor and State Senator Scott Jensen on the numbers games that are being played with COVID-1984. Definitely go check that out. Make sure you are subscribed if you're new to the channel. You're sharing the information with others. And guys, follow me on Twitter, but check out all the documentary films, especially Shade the Motion Picture right now. Shade the Motion Picture lays a lot of this out. A lot of this out. Bioengineering, geoengineering, and basically how we need to stand up to these authoritarians that are a predator class posing as benevolent people. I love you guys, and I'll see you